right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ha, Rakak, Radash, Ma'amath. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and the elders. Double honors to my elder as well, Ahar Wan, Yasha Allah, the Lions Den Camp. And salutations to the fellow Akim, Awafim, the children that believe in truth and in sincerity. All right, it's your brother. I thank y'all. Back to another lesson in Yahara Tazah is edifying. And I just want to be a quick lesson, all right, more so kind of like a response lesson, all right, pertaining to a video I had seen and came across, all right, and brothers do it in the group chat in regards to one of the camps, one of the brothers, all right, one of brothers, all right, the Akim, all right, in the faith that's out there on highways and byways, all right. You had a possible Edomite, possible Jake, all right, but you had an individual ultimately put their hands on the prophets, man. You know, so it's basically just a response to that video, you know, or more so on the lines on how, you know, no servant is greater than his master, you know, ultimately how we have to prepare our mind to be in that mindset that Yahweh Shah was in, all right, before he was persecuted, all right, given up to the Romans, all right, as no servant is greater than his master. You know, ultimately we have to be able to take a beating, all right, before honor this humility, all right. We have to be able to take a beating, you know, like our big brother Yahweh Shah took that beating, you know. So without further ado, I'm gonna get straight into it. I'm gonna start off in the book of St. Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 50. I start at verse 51, all right? And this is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 26, and verse 51. And behold, one of them which were with Yahweh Shai stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. I believe that was Peter, all right, who cut off the ear, all right, when they came and got Yahweh Shai, all right, to basically put him before he was persecuted, all right, you know, and Peter smote off his ear, all right, but Yahweh Shai, we get verse 52. Then said Yahweh Shai unto him, put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword, right? He reminded Peter of the scriptures, man, you know, as what carnality is death. All right, so it was a beautiful thing of them brothers showing a representation of being stoic, you know, humble, you know, their meekness, you know, just as Yahweh Shai, you know, as no servant is greater than his master, man. They could have beat the hell out of that dude, and rightfully so, had all the right to do so, all right, but they didn't, all right, which is just, it shows the spirit of Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai being in the midst and dealing. All right, because very well so, all right, the Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai can very well put the spirit in you to get busy and to get down as well, all right, but at that point in time, it wasn't so, it wasn't need fit, all right, just as here we're reading about with Peter, all right, because why? Prophecy had to be fulfilled, you know, he had to be crucified as that sacrificial lamb for us to be here today, all right, for us to have a mediator, man, a way to Yahweh, all right, a way back to the Heavenly Father, Abba, all right, Yahweh, all right, being the Father, you know, and be cleansed, man, you know, through that sacrificial lamb, through his blood, all right. And it's back in St. Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 53. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? And that's a big point right there, verse 53. You know, because Yahweh Shai knew that he can call a legion of angels, you know, and being the power that he had, but he didn't, you know, and that's what he was trying to make Peter understand, that he had to go through it, you know, ultimately, that persecution. You know, ultimately to be able to take a beating, given one. All right, and that's what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai ultimately is getting ready to come back to do. You know, give that beating. All right, you know, so or just the typical Jake, man. As we're hastening the day, all right, of the new covenant, the new bodies, right, the law within our inward parts, right, the spiritual power. But before that spiritual power, all right, we're sent to heal before destroy, you know, before destruction. All right. And Yahweh Shai, when he was on the scene, he was about healing, you know, healing the people. All right. You know, but on this coming, it's going to be of destruction, man. You know. So Yahweh, the Most High, could have called a legion of angels, man, but he didn't. All right. So ultimately, because prophecy had to be fulfilled. And it's back at the book of St. Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 54. But how then shall the scripture be fulfilled, right? You know, being the point. You know, and I'll read up from the top of 53 again. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then shall the scripture be fulfilled, that thus it must be, right? You know, so after that he was crucified and given up to the Romans. But from there I want to go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 15 and verse 33, all right? And it's the book of Proverbs, chapter 15. And verse 33. And it reads, the fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility, man, right? You know, so having the fear of the Lord is ultimately what guides us in the spirit of truth, all right? What ultimately the Lord can sup with us, will make us meek and have a contrite spirit towards the Lord, all right? Not thinking that we can look him eye to eye, all right? We can talk to him any kind of way, all right? We come to him in humbleness and meekness, all right? And ultimately honoring and reverencing him, all right? By using their true and rightful names, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, all right? Ultimately kissing the son, lest he be angry, man. Building on that relationship, you know, through prayer, all right? Which, you know, through conversation, through prayer, building that relationship between, you know, the spirit, you know, ourself and Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, you know. That fear ultimately leads to what? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, you know. And ultimately, before honor is humility, man. You know, before you can honor the Father, you have to come in humbleness and in meekness, right? That lowly and contrite spirit, right? And before we're even given crowns, or we're the hopeful elect right now, you know. And that's why we consider ourselves to be of the hopeful elect. All right, nobody has been saved yet. Nobody can say they've been saved. All right, because ultimately, for one, destruction. All right, the second death hasn't come yet. All right, you know, and a salvation for Israel hasn't been returned, man. Back yet, man. The Father has not sent His Son in those legion of angels, man. You know, that host. All right. But from there, I want to go to the book of St. John, all right, chapter 15 and 20, all right. But mainly, I want to go there in the book of St. Matthew, just to bring out a little example on how carnality is death, all right, and how Yahweh Shai was showing that, you know, representation of meekness and being stoic, right, bearing his cross, you know, and not showing carnality, even though he was a persecuted man. He could have done so and had all the right to do so. All right, he just moved within the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And it's the book of St. John, chapter 15 and verse 33. Salakia, book of St. John, chapter 15 and verse 20. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than the Lord. Khan. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also, right? You know, so just like he told Ezekiel to eat the whole roll and go teach the house of Israel, but that roll became bitter because people, they didn't want to listen, all right? They didn't want to listen to Ezekiel, all right? But the truth still has to be spoken. That's that bitter sweetness of the truth. That's the straits, all right? And we're getting closer to inheriting the kingdom, all right? Yaharatazah, I'm a part of that number, all right? The streets is gonna get tighter, man. It's those laboring pains, man, that the earth is having, man, you know? That's right before it's bringing forth of the sun, you know, being Yahweh Shah, you know. So no servant is greater than his master, man. It's that chain of command, being Yahweh Shah, all right, his men, and, you know, so on and so forth, man. You know, no servant is greater than his masters, man. So if they persecuted Yahweh Shah, all right, what's going to happen to his prophets that come upon the scene? They're going to persecute us as well, all right? You've seen countless videos, you know, I believe back in the Atlantic, the GMS Atlanta camp, you had the Yaradan cat got spat on. You know, you've seen videos like that. So, you know, basically they just want to put hands on the prophets, man. You know, here the Lions Den camp, all right, had an incident at the library downtown at the Hemming Plaza, all right, with Jake, you know, a whole bunch of homeless Jakes and just demons just basically jumped on the camp, you know, prior to when I joined the camp, you know. But these are situations that go on, man. And ultimately, the Lord covers and have the hedge around his men, all right, to where it don't go overboard, or, you know, it's done, things are done in a balance, you know. Through experience, you know, we would keep the camera rolling, you know, for future references. We'll keep it rolling for just CYA, you know, cover your ass, you know, just in case you gotta get busy and protect yourself. And hey, just like you had an IUIC citizen arresting a man. They're more so like agents, though, you know. But to continue on, just go back more so on topic. All right, it was a good representation of what those brothers did, of being stoic and showing meekness, man, and not enduring hardness. That's a good soldier, man. It's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 3 states, all right, because that's ultimately what we have to do by being in this truth, all right. We have to bear our cross as our big brother Yahweh Shai bear his cross, all right, as no servant is greater than his master, all right. But this is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier, right? You know, you ultimately, you know, through this truth and the bittersweetness of it, you know, you just become numb. You know, and it becomes about salvation at the end of the day, and just teaching the truth, all right, making sure you're on point as individually, you know, as far as, you know, controlling and governing the spirits, all right. We leave that to the tyrants, right, to the wicked scribes and Pharisees, right, these other camps like the IUICs, the ISUPKs, the Sakaris. We leave that to those type of individuals. But for more so, you know, those who are worshiping in spirit and in truth, you know, in meekness and in the fold, all right, you ultimately want to endure hardness as a good soldier, man. You become numb, you know, you care less, man. You become to give a fuck of what these people got going on or what they try to do, because there's nothing they can do, you know. So from there, I want to go to John 13. I'm going to go back to the book of St. John, chapter 13 and verse 16. I'll start at verse 15. For I have given you an example that ye should do, as I have done to you. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. So it's that chain of command, man. The servant is not greater than the Lord, than Yahweh Shai, neither is the Lord greater than that good master, man, being the Father, Yahweh, all right, Abba, all right. So from there, I want to go to the book of Zephaniah, all right, and just wrap up the lesson. And Yaharatazah was edifying. This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, and verse 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, right? Because ultimately, the prey ultimately is Esau, Edom, the wicked, all right, but as well as these other heathen nations. And 2/3 of our people, all right, that join hand in hand with the wicked, all right, Esau, Edom, and these other wicked heathen nations, all right. You know, and it's the Lord determination, because he got dibs first. They crucified him first, all right, over 2,000 years ago, right? So this is Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy, man, right? So we can't do half of what the Lord want to do to him, you know, so that's even more the reason for us to be stoic and humble, all right, and endure the hardship, all right, so the Lord can get that counterpunch to this damn devil, man, you know. From there, I want to go to the book of St. John, chapter 15, and go back to the book of chapter 15, the book of St. John, and verse 13, and we'll end it off with that. And this is the book of St. John, chapter 15, and verse 13. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Right? You know, and Yahushua gave up his life to be the sacrificial lamb of Israel, man. You know, ultimately as a whole. All right, but on this side, the only people that's going to honor that and acknowledge that and thank him for that is the hopeful elect. All right, that seldom few, that remnant, that 1/3 remnant. All right, that 1/3 men, women, and children, and 144,000 men. That's going to be that new government in the world to come. All right, the kingdom to come. And it's back in St. John 15 and 14. Ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, right? You know, they're servants, because the servant don't know what the Lord doeth. You know, they haven't come to the conclusion that the Lord is a so-called black man, all right, that he laid down his life for us to be here today, all right? And ultimately, he's coming back to bring that salvation of Israel, those who's crying and lamenting and hate this place, man. You know, as we're done with this place spiritually. You know, we desire a new heaven and a new earth. You know, so we know what the Lord done for us, and we know what he's coming to do by reading what was written. All right, the things written aforetime were written for our learning, and studying to show ourselves approved, right? Rightly dividing the word of truth. We understand what the Lord doeth. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. Kind. You know, so it's a blessing if you can understand this truth. It's a gift. Verse 16, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. Kind. That's another clear point, you know, because we can't choose the Lord. Ultimately, the Lord chooses us. You know, everything is predestined. You know, the first fruits. And it's verse 16 in John 15 and 16. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whosoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. You know, and that's just pretty much the point, you know. And ultimately, starting at verse 13, where we started off at, man, greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends, man. That's ultimately what the Lord have done for us, all right? And we kissed the Son. So he, you know, Yaharatazah, he's not angry in that day towards us, you know, that we can have our slate being wiped clean. You know, we can be exempt from judgment, you know, through the mark of the walk, through crying and sighing, through acknowledging and reverencing him, you know. Ultimately, as he laid down his life for his friends, we ought to lay down our life for him, you know, and our nation, just as he did. As again, no servant is greater than his master. All right, and those brothers showed a good example of that, you know, of just a turning the other cheek, so to speak, in the right way. You know, not the Martin Luther King simp beta male way of just getting ran over, but dwelling in the spirit. Because rightfully so, they could have got down just like any Jake would have got down. All right, but the spirit wasn't in them to do so. All right, so Yahweh Tazah, this lesson was edifying, you know, and it's all through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai being the point and said. All right, you know, it shows that Yahweh Shai was in the midst. All right, the spirit is in the midst. All right, he's not going to allow the angels to allow you to dash your foot up against the stone. You know, I believe that's in the book of Psalms. All right, but Yahweh Tazah, this lesson was edifying. Shalom, Mahabatah, and DTA.